Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I am your host, Nathan Ragland, and get ready for a devilishly good chat for today. Today's guest is LittleMissDevil, an independent webcomic creator of the incredible webcomic Realm of Dreams. This was a good conversation, one that I was glad to have when LittleMissDevil themselves decided to approach me to be on the podcast. I will go ahead and give you a warning. The audio is going to be a little messed up for this week and the next two, but I made sure to fix as best as I could, and it's still a great conversation that I hope you guys enjoy at the end of the day. Seriously, the creativity and the inspiration that LittleMissDevil has for their stuff really shines bright with this conversation. Make sure you support them with all the links down in the description below. If you enjoyed the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. 5 stars, please. I've been noticing the reviews and I've been absolutely loving it. If you want to go further with that support, you should check out the merch at the merch shop at pmap.creator-spring.com to see a wider range of amazing art pieces that you can wear from incredible former guests of before. If you want to go even further with that support, you should be a part of the PMAP Patreon, to where you can see exclusive behind-the-scenes content, exclusive bonus episodes, early video versions of the podcast, and so much more. Become a part of the Patreon for as low as $5 a month when you go to patreon.com/PMAP. And now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast.
Hello?
Yes, I hear you. I can hear you.
Oh my God, you can hear me! Yay! It was the browser.
There you go. I am so sorry. I'm so
sorry. I have no idea how to work Discord. I'm so sorry.
For some reason, I just assumed you had like the Windows, and like Windows is, I guess, the best version for Discord. It's like, I don't know. All I know is that we got it working now.
I'm glad. Oh my God.
There you go.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. Thank you first off for getting in contact with me, wanting to be a part of this, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, it seemed really fun, so I definitely wanted to reach out.
If I may ask, how did you even first hear about the podcast in the first place?
Oh my God, how did I find out? I think, are you familiar with the show Wildcard?
I am very familiar with them. I've had them on like a while ago.
I'm mutuals with the creator on Instagram, so I was just looking through their YouTube channel about a couple months ago, and then that's how I found out about your channel, because I watched the interview.
Okay, I appreciate that. I really do.
That's how I found out.
It's one of those, like, I saw you like just message me out of nowhere, and I'm not saying I rarely get people asking me to be on the podcast, but it's certainly a treat whenever people do ask if they want to be on the podcast. And then seeing just like your collection of stuff, because that was more or less my introduction to you or whatnot, I knew I had to have you on at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I just thought it looked real cool how you were giving so many artists an opportunity to talk about their projects, and I found out about a lot of people through your podcast, so I want to thank you for that.
I appreciate that. I really that's the goal of the podcast.
That's great.
I mean, you know, I've said a million times before with this podcast, like, this podcast is dedicated to giving artists who, you know, are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. If my little dinky podcast is enough to let people know that their stuff rules, then I'm down for it, if that helps.
You're doing a big thing, in my opinion. My book, this is big.
Well, I'm glad it's a big thing for you. All right, Dynasty, before we really get into it, I must ask the icebreaker question of the podcast. Let's say you get an opportunity to go to a deserted island on your own accord. It is just you, alone with your thoughts. You get to sit back, breathe, and enjoy yourself for a little bit. To make sure you don't go completely insane on this island, you get to bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you to help you unwind a little bit. What is that one piece to help you out?
You mean like an item, or like any artwork? You mean
item, artwork, movie, CD, video game, whatever you consider like art or media. That's all in the realm.
Okay. I definitely have to bring music with me. a favorite song of mine.
Ooh, do you have like one that comes to the top of your head, like something like your go-to song?
Yes, definitely. I really like right lately I've been listening to a lot of Melanie Martinez, if you're familiar with her.
I am vaguely aware of her. Yes.
Any song from her, like The Tension, or that's a song that I really like from her.
Okay.
Another one, let me think of one. I also really like the song Playdate. That's another song I really like to listen to. So any music is what helps me in any environment.
I mean, that's fair enough. Trust me, like, music is a major thing for me as well, and I understand just kind of the escapism you kind of get just from, like, listening to a song, so...
I see you're a fan of Tyler, the Creator. I love him.
Absolutely. That is, like, my go-to #1 artist. You know, behind me, I got the Call Me If You Get Lost poster, so there you go.
Yes, I love that.
There you go.
I love that.
But nevertheless, music, mainly like the one you said that I'll just cling on to, the Melanie Martinez, basically soundtracks or whatnot. That's the one you're bringing with you? You're locking that in?
Yeah, yep. I listen to it all the time.
Then if that's the case, I can't think of a better way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Nathan Ragland. Feel free to subscribe or follow whatever streaming platform you prefer. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PostmodArtPod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. She is a self-taught cartoonist with an incredible cast of characters for their stunning series, Realm of Dreams. Welcome to the podcast, Dynasty, aka LittleMissDevil.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here today.
Thank you for taking time every day to sit down and chat. I really do appreciate you reaching out in the first place and really introducing me to your art, because I have just been amazed with kind of the world you've created with,
oh my God,
with Realm of Dreams and everything. But before we really divulge to what you're creating these days, I want to go back just a little bit. I want to know more or less the origin stories of Dynasty. What got you interested in art and cartoons in the first place?
Oh my God. Cartoons themselves, animation in general. I remember being a kid and watching a lot of cartoons, playing a lot of video games. I used to make my own characters growing up, wrote lots of short stories, just animation in general. I always watched cartoons every single day. Anime, just animation. That's what got me into drawing. I was the only artist in my family for a while. So.
Oh, wow. All right, then.
Yeah. I am the only artist, pretty much.
Do you have a particular, like, animated show or, like, movie or something like that is, like, the peak, like, you had to watch every single episode no matter what?
Yes. Invader Zim. I love it so much. I have been binging that for the past year. I have the whole DVD series box set. That's all I watch. I love it. I love that show.
Oh, I can only imagine. Absolutely. Just like going back to kind of the parallels between what you're doing and what that doing, like that was an entire like universe, and like the creativity that the creator put into it more than anything else, like one of a kind.
Yes. I'm such a fan of Jonen's work, so he's my favorite creator pretty much.
Absolutely. So when did it for you go from just like this general love of like animation art to a passion then wanting to make it your career?
Well, see, like I said, I used to watch a lot of shows growing up, and making cartoons and short stories, I always said to myself, I want to do that too. I want to make my own franchise, my own project. So I just started developing it I remember when I was 15, that's when I first started working on Realm of Dreams, and it was a completely different thing from what it is now. Like there was a whole different cast of characters. It went through so many different, what's the word for that?
Just I think you probably kind of illustrate just different like characters, different arcs, different plots, different ideas that went into it before.
It went through so many different. Oh my God, I can't get this word out. But you know what
say different iterations, maybe? Is that the word?
Yes. It went through so many different changes throughout the years.
There you go. There we go. Well, I mean, especially there you go. I mean, especially considering the fact that you've like had this since you were 15, like especially considering where you are right now, I can only imagine the amount of time and effort that you've probably put into, you know, Realm of Dreams, which we'll definitely talk about a bit. But like, I think you can attest with me whenever I say that whatever you think of when you're 15, totally different than when you're thinking of when you're in your 20s.
Yes, I'm 22 now, and looking back at the drafts I would write when I was 15, it was so bad. Even the old characters are so bad. And I thought that stuff was really dope when I was 15, but I'm glad I still, always had that spark of inspiration to just keep working on stuff. I never stopped, even if I said, okay, that needs to be changed, so I'm going to improve it. But I've always knew that this is why I wanted the series to be called. The title never changed, though. The title never changed.
Well, that's
different now.
I mean, that's good to hear that the title never changed, because I didn't want to be referring to that and be like, oh no, it's actually the Amazing Adventures of the what, and like, okay, I need to practice. I need to practice my tongue twisters to get that title out there. But nevertheless, like, it's incredible to know that, like, for a long time now, like, you've always had a love and passion for this art. I mean, it's to the point to where, like, you've gone out of your way to make sure that you, like I said in the intro, you taught yourself how to do this instead of, I imagine, like, going to certain classes or going to a college for that kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is there a particular reason why you wanted to go with that route, like just learning, like just getting it out of the way and getting it on your own?
Yes. Main reason is because I don't know. I couldn't imagine myself going to an art school. I don't know. School just isn't for me. So I always drew since like the first time I could even pick up a pencil. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to teach myself. I'm going to watch tons of tutorials. These days, there's like so many resources online to learn how to draw. So I didn't feel a need to go to school, Yeah, but I just thought I was more comfortable going with this route. I just wanted to teach myself, go at my own pace and everything. I wouldn't be opposed to going to art school one day, but
Right.
if I got the opportunity. But I don't know. I'm just comfortable with just teaching myself along the way, about anatomy and stuff. And there's so much more I still want to improve on. But
Right.
that's just what it just felt right.
I mean, more than anything else, like, you kind of just illustrated, like, again, this is something you've always wanted to do. So it's like, why, do whatever you can to where you can get to that point that you wanted to, I can imagine.
Yeah, lots of practice throughout the years. I just draw nonstop. You just got to keep drawing, and even like a year ago, my art looks so different from a year ago. I just like to keep improving, whether it's art style or my line art. There's so much things I just want to keep getting better at, and that was always my goal. To just keep drawing, never stop. Whatever it's a doodle.
I mean, it's led you so far. I mean, it's certainly gotten you some good leeway and some good attention and traction when it comes to the art that you've done.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised I even gotten this far so quickly. The fan base I've grown in the last few years.
Oh, absolutely. Do you remember personally, like, on this journey so far, do you remember what was like the biggest hurdle when it comes to teaching yourself, like, how to art properly?
I think the biggest hurdle is sometimes when you're looking up, but like I say, backgrounds. I'm not really good at backgrounds. Drawing backgrounds are really hard for me. So, sometimes I wish they were more in detail, like tutorials about it, and because I'm not really good at that. And sometimes some certain things just don't have a lot of video content on it. So I do wish I had a teacher sometimes to teach me these things, but
Right.
that's the hurdle. Yeah, just learning certain topics it just takes longer to learn about it. That's all I'm gonna say. But sorry if I worded that.
No, you're perfectly fine. I was gonna say, like, I've talked to several people on this podcast to where, like, a lot of the stuff they're dedicated to is the backgrounds and stuff like that, and it's certainly no easy task, more than anything else.
It's not. Drawing a character is one thing. Background environments, it's just not my thing.
Because it's like when it's done right, like, it's no one's gonna really notice it. If it's done wrong, everyone's gonna notice it.
Yes. So I don't know. I'm just more of a character artist. I like to write, and I like character design. That's where I feel like I'm really good at. Yeah. Okay. Just making fun characters. Yeah.
Is there a particular reason why you gravitate towards, like, the characters themselves? Like, what is it about, like, character design that, like, creatively just, like, gets you going?
My favorite part about any project is the characters themselves. I feel like characters really make up a project to me. It could be a story that's not even well written sometimes, but if the characters are fun for me, I can still get into it sometimes. I just like giving them personalities. I think that's the most fun part. And giving them designs that fit their personalities. I just think characters, they're just fun to make. I just love making them. They're my favorite thing about, more than writing the story themselves. I just like focusing on characters.
There you go. Would you say that like creating the character is probably the most rewarding part about being a self-taught artist personally? Like the fact that, you've gone this far and you've been able to create such amazing characters?
Yeah, I definitely say. I don't know. It's incredible to me to be able to write, give them their personality through just writing, and they just come to life. They just come to life in drawings, whether it's writing. I think it's something. It's hard to get my words out about it, but I just think characters are what make a project, in my opinion. I don't know. I just think a fun character that really gravitates an audience, if that's the right word to say.
I totally understand where you're coming from. Just kind of seeing more or less like
or not like no one's gonna watch it.
I mean, who knows? But I mean, nevertheless, like, especially for like what you're doing, especially like the amount of time and effort that goes into like the personalities, the little traits that you put with each individual character, and seeing it more or less come to life with like little details and such. And seeing
color palette with that too.
Oh yeah, color palettes especially.
I love that part.
Well, I mean, we kind of danced around it a little bit, but how about we get to quite possibly your biggest flex when it comes to character design more than anything else, and that is your webcomic that you've developed for ages, Realm of Dreams. How did this concept even come to you in the first place?
Oh my god. I remember being, so I was 15 and I was saying, okay, let me come up with something completely different that hasn't been done before. But I remember it was like I said in the beginning, it was a completely different story. But it was only till like 2017 that I wanted to make it based on, Krampus and everything. If you're familiar with Krampus, are you?
I am fairly familiar with the legend of Krampus, so.
Yes. So I feel like there wasn't a lot of media involving Krampus himself. So I definitely wanted to take my story in that direction. And yeah, it's just been years of writing, but the webcomic also, it's not a webcomic anymore. It's actually discontinued.
Ooh, okay. I gotcha.
I didn't feel like that medium fit the story I wanted to tell. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take that leap, and I just want to get into animation. I want to make a pilot for it eventually.
There we go. Especially going back just a little bit or whatnot, back to whenever you first started the concept. I must go ahead and say, for the people out there that may not already know, how would you describe the concept of Realm of Dreams?
Okay, so Realm of Dreams is it's a drama dark comedy series about Ingrid Hellman. She's the daughter of Krampus, and Carrie Claus, she's the daughter of Santa, and their goal is to fix Christmas. That's the goal of the story. My story is made up of holidays. Each holiday has a realm, and that's where each holiday originates from. So pretty much the story focuses on Christmas. That's the theme, but the realms are also connected to the human world, so that's pretty much what the story's about. There's a variety of characters, but I'm focusing on Christmas, and that's pretty much the main premise of the story. But their goal is to just fix Christmas, that holiday.
That's fair. It's one of those, you say it's like the main focus, but trust me, like I said before, with some of the other characters that you've included, here and there and such, like, there's a focus, but there's also so many different stories that we could go off on. It's
a lot of different elements.
It's not just like a story, it's a society, more or less, that you have to, like, invest in every individual timeline for.
Yeah, I've always been interested in holidays, so I just wanted to show, like, maybe where would they come from? My version of where would they come from. And Christmas is the focus, because I'm focusing on Santa and Krampus and how that came to be, and how things are. Let me say this. They're trying to fix Christmas because, in my story, Krampus and Santa, they work together. They used to work together to they used to work together to have Christmas going, but since they had a fallout, the holiday hasn't been as popular in the human world. So that's why the girls are coming together to work together. But it's an unlikely friendship because since the fallout, demons demons are banned from the North Pole. That's where Carrie lives, and
Right.
Ingrid, Krampus's daughter, lives in the underworld. So they just work together to try to fix the holiday and bring the realm together again.
Right. No, it absolutely makes sense. Just kind of how unique of a concept, and I never thought demons were allowed in the North Pole in the first place, but that's just personal thing or whatnot. No, what was I gonna say? It's incredible, just kind of the environment you've kind of developed and the concepts that you're introducing to this to create like an interesting conflict that we could easily see, that we can hopefully see a good resolve for. That we hopefully saw a good resolve for. What was the inspiration behind the concept in the first place? So, like, what made you realize, like, this is something interesting, I want to, like, develop more on this?
Okay, so, my username, LittleMissDevil, I just love demons. That's what I got into. So, I just wanted to, like I said, I've been reading up on Krampus, and I was surprised to see there wasn't a lot of media involving that, character himself. So I was like, okay, how could I make a story about this character? And yeah, so I just started developing it from there, and yeah, and then it just became this whole story about holidays. And I, since Krampus is like, he punishes the naughty kids, Santa rewards the good kids. So I just wanted to focus on that. So I think it's so interesting, but there's not a lot of media on that. So I just wanted to, yeah, so that's kind of where it developed, my interest on Krampus and demons, and how could I make the story involve demons, but other characters as well. Like I have reindeer that live in the North Pole. I have reindeer characters. I have talking snowman characters. There's a lot of holiday characters that's going on.
Oh yes, there is. There's a plethora. Like I said before, there's like a plethora of different characters that you've introduced and included or whatnot. Yeah. What are some of the your personal favorite characters that you've introduced into this? I love how your face lit up just whenever I asked that.
My favorite character, I draw him the most. He's like my profile picture on my Instagram account and on here on my Discord. My character Milo Hellman. He's an imp. He happens to be a pastry chef, and he works for a lord that lives in the underworld. He's also related to my main character Ingrid Hellman. She's the daughter of Krampus. That's his brother. That's his sister-in-law. So that's how he's involved with her. But they have a whole conflict going on with those two. But he's definitely my favorite character. And my character Macy, she's another imp. If you've seen her, she's a purple one that I draw a lot. She also works with Milo. That's his co-worker and best friend. And Ingrid herself, since she's the daughter of Krampus, I get to do a lot with her. She's my favorite. In terms of writing her, I just have a lot of fun with her because she doesn't get along with her dad. And Krampus is evil in my story.
Right.
He's a bad guy. So she doesn't want to be like him, and she gets judged because of who her father is. So another good one that I like. I love all my characters. I've been talking about them all day.
I mean, I imagine even the evil Krampus or whatnot, there's a character that's probably hard for you to hate, more or less. At the very least, you love to hate them. So
yes, I love all of them, even the evil ones. I just have fun writing them. So.
Since you kind of developed this concept and these characters and stuff like that, what's been the most fun for you when it comes to creating this webcomic or creating this universe or whatnot?
Most fun part for me is just the character relationships. That's the part that I have the most fun with, because I think that's my strength, is just writing relationships between characters and their problems. And because I have a lot, because I think the story, the biggest part of the story is just the relationship between these characters, and each character has a goal. That's why it's called, because it's based on the Christmas realm, but each character has a goal or a dream they want to achieve, so that's why I called it Realm of Dreams. That's why I went with that. But yeah, the character relationship is my favorite part, because I just think that it has a lot of heart in my story. Even the scariest looking demons in my story, they have a lot of heart. So that's definitely my favorite part is just writing the interactions between the characters.
There you go. I was gonna say, I'm glad you brought up Macy and Milo, because I've noticed whenever I was looking through your stuff, those are the two that you tend to gravitate to, and the way that you have them interacting, especially on like Instagram and such, I just love like how either sincere it can get or just how goofy and silly it can get. Seriously.
Thank you. You could go on.
I was just gonna ask, like, what is it about those two in particular that are just like absolutely what's the word I'm looking for? Like, what is it about those two that just like every time you put those two together, like it's just gonna create fireworks no matter what?
Well, I think it's because they have such a unique dynamic. Macy, she's a lot more quiet, more mature than Milo is. Milo is like that, he's the life of the party, pretty
there
much.
You go.
Macy's more mature. She's more quiet. She's about her. Let me say this. Yeah, he's more immature. He's the loudmouth. She's the quiet one. So I think they balance each other out very well. She looks out for him and keeps him out of trouble because he gets into trouble a lot. He's So I think I have fun writing them the most because I just think their interactions come the most natural to me. They do. So I can come up with comics much faster for them than my other characters that I think I have to spend a lot more time on. And people love them the most. I think they're my most popular characters. So that's a plus. So.
Certainly is. I know it, like, probably part of that is the fact that, like I said, with how much you've had them interacting and showcasing that love and interaction between the two or whatnot, certainly doesn't help for us to really attach, because I feel like their interaction, like even in this unique and out of this world concept that not a whole lot of people can imagine of, their interactions are like the most relatable, the most down to earth. Like people can see that and be like, oh yeah, I have a friend totally like that. I know what that's like.
Yeah. That's what I like about them, is that they feel so real to me. And I put a little bit of myself in both of them. I have my days where I'm like, I could be really quiet sometimes, but then I can also be really loud and excited. So I think since I put a lot of myself into some of my characters, but especially those two, they come the most natural for me. And I think that's what makes them fun, is because they're so different, but they're just they just come together like glue. So I think that's what makes them work so well. You wouldn't expect them to be friends, but right. They just are.
No joke. And I love, like I said before, like even though these characters are unique and out of this world or whatnot, there's a sense of like realness and like connectability with just about any one of these characters that you've developed, more or less. How important was it for you to make sure that there was, I guess, more or less a human element to like these demons or whatnot?
Okay, yeah, it was important to me because I didn't want them to be like, we all know how demons usually are, evil,
like that.
Yes, I wanted them to feel like people, I didn't want to make them all the same or like one dimensional. Like, oh, okay, you expect them to be evil, you expect them to be mean. Like, yeah, sure, some of them have, they have tricks. They could be tricksters sometimes. They have that nature, deep down. But I wanted them to feel like real people because they have emotions and they have feelings. And that was really important to me. Because I wanted people to be able to relate to these characters. That was the most important thing for me. They have insecurities and stuff. They want to fall in love. It's like so many different things about these characters, and that was my main goal, just making them relatable. So
absolutely. And I feel like another way you've kind of helped people more or less relate to them more or less is kind of the representation you've put out there with these characters and such. How important was it for you to have these different kind of representations, especially with like the LGBTQ plus community?
Yeah, it was very important to me to include that in my story because I feel like I didn't grow up with cartoons that had gay characters or anything. I didn't grow up with any representation, so I definitely wanted to put that in my story because I want to show that these people exist, but not make that the main focus of these characters. Just have them be queer characters, but just doing things that any other story would have. You know what I mean? So, I definitely just wanted everyone. I just wanted to. It just came natural to me, pretty much. Like. I felt like that character when I was writing them, and I feel like, okay, I could see this character being in love with a man, then I'm gonna do that. Or this character, I see her as trans, I'm gonna make her trans. So that's kind of how it came along with me. When I'm writing a character that becomes natural, then I'm gonna do it, but not in a forced way. You know what I mean? So that was definitely important to me, especially since I'm a part of the community. I'm bi, so I definitely need to incorporate that into my story.
Yeah, more or less, at the end of the day, like you said before, you wanted these characters to be as relatable as possible, even though at least one of them is the overwhelming demon in charge of Christmas or something like that.
Definitely.
I mean, I think it certainly helps when you have, like I said, the interactions with like Milo and Macy and such, and it certainly helps when you have that representation out there. And that's one of the things I genuinely do love about Realm of Dreams. Just kind of one of those obviously something that you've obviously emphasized on, talking about how like character design is like your main focus, but the characters that you've created with this or whatnot, it's truly like one of the most unique character dynamics I've seen with a lot of this stuff out there.
Thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot to me. Yeah, but it just meant I just wanted to have representation, because, like I said, I wanted to see characters like me growing up. I didn't see that, but now that animation is definitely changing, we're seeing more queer characters in animation. Oh, yeah. We definitely are. So I definitely I felt more comfortable writing them the way I really always wanted to. I remember being younger and I'm like, okay, am I gonna get hate for this? It was a different time, but I'm glad that things are becoming more. What's the word for that?
Feel more inclusive?
Yes. Yes, inclusive.
There you go.
Yeah, but yeah, I had people... Oh, let me let you go.
No, you go ahead. You finish your thought, and then I'll ask my next question.
I've had people come to me, but it means the most to me is that when... the most important thing to me is when people come to me and they tell me that these characters... inspired them to be themselves more. Like, like Milo's a cross-dresser. So I've had people come to me like, oh, I feel more comfortable dressing the way I want to. And it doesn't make me it doesn't make them any more or less of a man, so that means a lot to me when people come to me and say that these characters, help them express themselves.
There you go. That is beautifully worded, if I do say so myself. And I'm glad you talk about like people approaching you or whatnot, because as I reiterated kind of before, like the fandom you've already kind of developed for Realm of Dreams, even though it's something that you've had for years, but with how much you've developed it, especially as of late, and how much love is getting from it, it has to like amaze you at times to realize that people are connecting so much.
And that I did not expect to have this fan base so fast. I just started in 2017 posting my stuff online. So I didn't expect to even be here in 2022. I didn't expect it. And I just started my YouTube channel recently, just started posting consistently, and that's going well. But it just means a lot to me that people can, they just feel so connected to these characters, and they're just so into this project. And I don't even have any animation out yet. Nothing.
So keyword being yet.
Yes.
No, but I mean, nevertheless, like it's incredible. Like I know a good bit of the time you have on your Instagram and such, like these drawing challenges and stuff like that, and seeing other people's interpretations of your characters, like that has to like emotionally fulfill you, just seeing how gorgeous people can draw this stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy. It was recently I just did a Draw This in Your Style. Draw This in Your Style is pretty much, if you've heard of it, it's a contest that people usually do on Instagram. It was really cool to see my recent one for Macy, to see all the different versions that people, interpretation that people had of her, that they drew of her. But it's always fun to see that people really like her that much, so I don't know, it still amazes me. I don't have much words, it's just amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, nevertheless, like it's incredible, more or less, just kind of how much this has grown and how much people are enjoying it or whatnot. And it's not like you're stopping anytime soon. Like you said yourself earlier on, like, the webcomic might, be already done or whatnot, but you got bigger plans for it.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Like, what is your like ultimate end goal when it comes to Realm of Dreams, if I may ask?
My ultimate end goal, of course, I'd love to have a show one day. That's always been my dream, is just to have a cartoon. But for now, I'm just trying to grow my fan base. I plan to crowdfund eventually, maybe Kickstarter, so I can get funds for the pilot. But I do want to make a pilot episode eventually. But a show one day. That's my ultimate end goal.
I mean, I know you kind of already been more or less teasing towards that or going in that general direction because I saw that you recently posted a comic dub for one of your comics.
Yes, I have.
What made you was that more or less like a test run, I guess, of like if I was to go into animation, this is what I wanted to make sure it sounded like?
Yeah, that was like a test for me. Like, I just wanted to work with that was my first experience working with voice actors, and it was I learned a lot. But yeah, that was definitely a fun experience. Yeah, it was kind of like a test. Like, how would these characters sound? How would people, react to hearing them talking? So that was definitely a fun first thing that I wanted to do for my project. I want to do more, but I'll definitely do a lot of them leading up to the pilot that comes out, in a couple years.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, like, it's a good step in the right direction. It was incredible, more or less, like, hearing these characters come to life as opposed to, like, what we envision whenever we see the webcomic. Like, again, it's a step in the right direction, if nothing else, and a good foundation for what could be happening next.
Thank you. Yeah, it definitely is.
Absolutely. I have to ask, like, looking back at all that you've created so far with Realm of Dreams and all that may to come, but do you personally have, like, a favorite moment of the entire, like, series so far?
Yes, my favorite moment is the moment when Ingrid, Krampus's daughter, and Carrie, Santa's daughter, when they meet. That's planned to be in a pilot episode. When they first meet, I feel like that's when, like, the worlds come together again. Since, like I said, the underworld and with Krampus and North Pole with Santa, they haven't been on the same page for a while. So I feel like that's a moment to me that when the story like really starts to get going. But yeah, that moment I'm really excited to show eventually, when it's animated. That's going to be my favorite scene because it's crazy since Carrie summons a demon to help her, to grant her wish pretty much. And she ends up working with Ingrid, who's Krampus's daughter, so they come together because they both want to fix their holiday pretty much for their realms. They end up working together, and funny thing is that since Carrie sells her soul to half of her soul to Ingrid to be able to make this wish, she actually works for her. So they're kind of like friends and work and boss employees in a way, and her job is to pretty much. It's a lot to go. I don't want to spoil too
much. That's fair. I could just only imagine the interaction between the two. It's an interesting workplace relationship more than anything else.
Thank you. No, there's a lot to it.
Absolutely. I'm almost like curious to know like how like obviously you've had a lot of stuff planned for ages and you probably want to go like all out if possible with this. I can only imagine how big and pompous like the eventual like final product can be whenever that eventually gets to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I imagine you're probably gonna go out with like musical numbers and everything. Right now, I'm joking.
Yes. I think I've always considered having songs for my pilot. Song. I can imagine these characters singing songs. I can. I wouldn't call it a musical in a way, but
fair.
Yeah, but songs I could definitely see them singing songs. Yeah, but I have a lot of ideas for how I want to make this music still holiday themed, but with like a, more of a modern twist, like not like the typical holiday music. I wanted to add like maybe some rock in there or like, so I just definitely wanted to give Christmas like more of a horror element. That's what I'm going for with this project. So yeah, that's why it's a dark comedy because there's like, because when Carrie, starts to work for, Ingrid, she actually, her job is to take out all of the, the lords in hell that are working with Krampus. They're greedy. It's a whole story, but they're a big reason why Christmas hasn't been going so well. But Carrie's job is to take them all out. Since she actually starts being an assassin and just taking them all out because she was her in this version of my story. My version of Santa in my story is he's actually a demon hunter. So I wanted to give him a different twist to my my version of Santa and Mrs. Claus. They're both demon hunters. So Carrie has that skill already to just kill. She's a lot more dangerous than she looks. So she has a demon form as well. So when she's down in hell, she's doing this all behind her parents' back because she's not supposed to be associating with demons. But yeah, but her job is to take all of them out pretty much. And Ingrid wants to just wants to take over. Have her father step down, force him to step down, and they can fix things. Pretty much.
And create a wonderful union at the end of the day of the two sides and get Christmas back to where it needs to be.
Yes, that's the main focus of the story. Yes.
I'm just imagining now, like Carrie now, like especially if they're talking to Ingrid or whatnot, is like I think we're gonna work together so wonderfully, but if you cross me even once.
Definitely. Ingrid is judged in the story because, like I said, Krampus is her father, so people automatically assume she's like this evil person. She's actually, she has like a dark side to her, but she's trying to prove people wrong that she is a good person and she's trying to, do good things. And Carrie, on the other hand, she seems innocent, but she's she's very, let's just say wild. I'll call her wild. I would even call her.
At the end of the day, I wish a person would. How about that?
Basically, yes.
But nevertheless, like I said before, it's incredible, more or less, what you've got going on. I know I mentioned the comic dub that you already released or whatnot. Is there more that you're potentially planning in the future to help further tease it or whatnot?
Yes, there's a lot of comics I want to do with even different characters. That one was, with Milo and Macy, but I want to do other dubs with my other characters, other short stories, even maybe a comic dub series that has different parts to it. That was just a one-off short comic, but I like so many different dubs. I want to do it with all of my characters, just so people could get, just see them come to life a little bit more, since, we all know animation takes time, so that won't be out time soon. So this is a fun way to, get people more excited for the project, pretty
much.
But the dub's coming.
Well, I can tell you right now, if people are even half as excited as you are just describing this stuff, you're going to have yourself a full-on dedicated fan base by the time you even whisper, hey, Kickstarter.
Yes, that's why it's my goal right now. I'm not even worried about my Kickstarter right now. I'm just focusing on growing my fan base. People are already so excited. I have folders full of fan art of my characters. People have made fan characters for my series already. I'm just surprised that there's so much interest and there's not one piece of animation out yet. But people are already excited. So like you said, I can't imagine how it's going to be when there's animation snippets out, or when I say that, we're funded, but I'm just focusing on growing my platform because you can't crowdfund without a crowd. So I'm just going to continue.
No joke.
That's my goal right now, just to grow.
There you go. I was going to say, trust me, as someone that has talked to other creators that, don't even have that, they don't have a hint of animation out there, but yet they've already developed a wild fan base or something like that. It both surprises me, but doesn't surprise me, especially like I said with you, the characters you've developed, the environment you've created or whatnot, the scenarios that are potentially out there. You're leaving a lot to people's imaginations, and they are going to run wild with it.
Yes. There's so much I haven't revealed yet. It's a lot I haven't even revealed about these characters, and people are just so invested. I'm surprised that I'm so grateful that people just support it so much, and and where I'm at right now, because it's time to launch this Kickstarter. I just I'm working on a trailer right now, an idea for a trailer for that. Yeah, but I'm getting ideas of what could I show for a minute trailer to get people want to donate, but. Yeah, I'm just grateful to have this many people interested even now, and this early in my journey, because it hasn't even really started yet, really.
Well, how about for this next question, we go above and beyond, if I may, and I give you more or less the dream scenario. Let's say I am Big Shot Mr. Moneybags. I come up to you and look, Dynasty, the characters you've developed, we know that there is money here, and we want to help give you the money to make sure that we make the money in return. You know how business works or whatnot.
Yeah.
But we have access to everyone and anyone that is possible, and more money than there should be, more money than there should be available. We could be feeding so many different countries, but we're focusing on you for 5 minutes. If given this opportunity, what would be the dream Dynasty project, and why would it be just a Realm of Dreams, 20-year saga or something?
So you're basically asking what's the end goal, pretty much?
What is the dream goal? If you had no limits, whatever, every little aspects, yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. So what I want to do with it? Okay. Well, one, I didn't want to have of course, a show, a series. I'm still writing it, so I'm not even sure how long it would be, but it would definitely be a couple seasons. I'd like merchandise eventually. I'd love to do that. Comics even. I'd like to do comic series. I'd like to do pretty much. Yeah, that's really my goal, is maybe a video game one day. I don't know. And I don't think there's any limits. I have so many ideas that just run through my head every day, but yeah, I have a lot that I want to do. A lot.
And once again, like I said before, you have no limit. So I have to ask, who would be some of the dream voice cast, if possible?
Okay. So on my YouTube channel, I posted a voice claim video. So it's
Right.
kind of like an idea of what they would sound like. Well, I'd love one day, Tom Kenny to voice Milo. I love that. I love that because if you, I'm sure you've watched The Fairly Odd Parents. He voiced the character named Cupid on the show, and I think his voice, that's how I imagine Milo sounding. So that's like,
I'll behave.
Yes, that would definitely be someone I would love to work with one day. For the others, I'm not quite sure yet, but Mandy Moore, she voiced Rapunzel on Disney. For the Disney movie. That's my voice claim for Ingrid. I could definitely imagine her having that, that good singing voice, but also, she just has that. She's not a princess. Ingrid's not a princess. She's just a rich girl. So I definitely could imagine her having that, that elegance to her, if that's the word to use. But
there you go.
I can't think of any other specific voice actors, but I do have ideas for how I want them to sound. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I know I saw that video, or at least a good little bit of it, because I think it's like the trailer that plays whenever you go to your YouTube channel, which I absolutely love, kind of how you have that more or less set up and the aesthetic you got going for it. But I didn't know how much that changed, and obviously, like, those two names alone, like, they would be like a great powerhouse. Like, just hearing the interaction between the two already has me like thinking. So there you go. But sadly, we have to get down from the dream scenario. We gotta get back to reality, and I'll ask the ever so generic question: where do you hope to see yourself 5 to 10 years from now?
From 5 years, I hope to, definitely have a pilot out by then.
There you go.
Have a Kickstarter out. Yeah, in 5 years, I definitely want to see. I definitely would like to. Definitely want to put a pilot out by that time. Since I'm still growing my platform, but. And Kickstarter, I'm just kind of like developing that right now. I'm trying to say, okay, what would I do? What would I put on it? Because that's a lot that goes into that. But, but in 5 years, I definitely would want to see myself having a pilot at least. And in 10 years, I'd like to have this, a big fan base. So,
there you go.
I would love to just share the story with more people. People are already into it. So I just know way more, so many more people would just love these characters. And,
Absolutely. I mean, I think especially with kind of the vision you have in mind, like, I think that's more than achievable, like 5-10 years from now. So there you go.
Just working hard every day.
Amen to that. Amen to that. As we start to wind down the interview, I just have one last question that I want to ask. Obviously, like, you've deeply entrenched yourself when it comes to art ever since you were essentially born. Like, it's been a part of you since day one. How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
Oh my god, that's a question. Art. I think it's important because it's a way, it's a way for people to express themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's hard to get the words out, but art, I'll say is art for me is just a way for me to, it's therapeutic for me. It's a way for me to express my creativity in a way, that's all I don't know.
No, I mean, I totally get, like for you, it allows you to more or less showcase to the world that this is really who I am, love it or hate it, this is me.
Yes, it's just a way for me to just express, I don't know. I can't. Mine's part. But yeah. But yeah, it just allows me to express my ideas, put it all in one place. Yeah, art has always been a way for me to just share my my concept with people, my ideas. It's hard to explain, put it in words, but it's always helped me. Just it's a big part of my life, pretty much.
That makes sense. That's a good thing to know, that more than anything else, like, art is helping you reveal to the world, like, this is who it allows you to truly express yourself. And I appreciate I appreciate the fact that you're not only willing to express yourself, but express that to the world, and the world just seems to love it back. That is a wonderful way to word it, if I do say so myself.
Yes, that makes sense. I couldn't get the word.
I get what you were trying to go for, and I'm more or less trying to be the translator. I got you. But that's all the questions I have for you. I've already showered you with a whole bunch of praise, but I'm going to shower you with a little bit more because it's my podcast. I do what I want. Obviously, Dynasty, whenever you first approached me asking to be on the podcast, like, I was amazed that not only was someone interested in being on the podcast, but someone with a lot of interesting ideas and concepts wanted to be on this podcast, because I looked at your stuff and I was immediately, like, wowed by it, seeing how much you've invested in it for years on end, seeing the amount of different characters that you've created, the amount of different scenarios. It was incredible, the creativity that you were exuding, and I knew I wanted you on this podcast. But now that I got a chance to sit down, listen, get to pick your brain a little bit, and more or less feel the energy that you were exuding, because by God, you were just like a battery of just energy that needs to be released onto the world. But the fact that I got a chance to talk to you now, it makes me greatly appreciate what you're doing more, and I sincerely hope that whatever you're doing next, like, I just know with the amount of love and enthusiasm you got going into it, people are going to give that and then some right back. So keep up the incredible work. I am excited for what is next, and I'm going to be right there rooting for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. For those who may not already know, go ahead and plug yourself for the people at home.
Oh, okay. So I'm LittleMissDevil _ on Instagram. On YouTube, I just go by as LittleMissDevil. I don't use TikTok much, but I do have it. So I'm LittleMissDevil with 2 underscores after that. But yeah, that's the main social media platforms that I use for my work.
All right, then. That sounds wonderful. And if you missed anything, I'll be sure to link it down below. Do you have any final words before we sign off?
Thank you for having me on here. It was fun to talk about my project and everything, and the stuff I've planned. And I was actually a lot more comfortable than I expected. So this was a really fun experience. So I had joy. It was a joy to be on here.
Well, once again, thank you for your time, and I'm glad I can make it at least a comfortable experience. I gotta do something right? Nah, but nevertheless, for the people at home, all I have left to say is hasta luego, mi amigos.
Hi.
Tell me what's wrong, tell me it's parts in motion. Sing me a song, tell me your eyes can all open. Show me it all, put me up in the car you drove when you used to call. Show me it all.
Thank you so much for sticking to the end of this week's episode of the podcast. If this is your first episode, I appreciate you coming by, and I sincerely hope you enjoyed. I was intrigued with Dynasty whenever they got in contact with me, and I cannot thank them enough for showing some love and support for being here. It was incredible to get a chance to talk to them. Again, I apologize if the audio sounded a little weird. Again, for this episode and the next 2, I messed up some audio stuff on my end, so I mean, luckily I figured it and I fixed it somewhat, but it's still gonna be a little bit difficult. But nevertheless, I sincerely hope you guys still enjoy. For those who may be returning, you might have noticed something a little bit different. As of this past week, I am no longer a part of the Apocalypse Podcast Network. I just felt like when it comes to this podcast and the growth of this podcast, as integral of a part as Joanna and everyone in the Apocalypse Podcast Network was, I felt like moving forward, I would be better off going my own way. Again, I cannot thank everyone that was part of that the podcast network for helping me out, supporting me, promoting me when they could, getting the chance to appear on a couple of the podcasts. Stranger Than Christian, it was an absolute dream. I just felt like, at least when it comes to this podcast, guys, I felt like it was better if we went about this, like, for us as a community. This is no slight against the other podcasts. If you have not taken the opportunity to sit down and listen to podcasts like Stranger Than Christian, Hot Goss, Whispering Hunties, The Honey Leave It Show, Teach Me Something Good, if you haven't had a chance to listen to those podcasts, seriously, take the time to go and listen to them. They are incredible podcasts pushing out incredible stuff, and I'm still going to be constantly listening to all of their stuff. Seriously. I mean, obviously, Stranger Than Christian, whenever he does decide to do episodes again, but I mean, even then, like Robots vs. Dinosaurs, hearing Louis G, how he hosts it, Hot Goss, just hearing how Trash Comedy takes, you know, the fun facts and makes it a fun podcast. It's just, as great as it was to be with them, I just thought that going forward, it would be best if I just felt like it was best to just keep going solo. Will it be for long? Who knows? Part of the issue of why I left is, like, the distance, because most of them are based around, like, you know, northeast area, and I'm in the southeast. But even then, I felt like I for the most part, like, even being a part of that podcast network, I felt like I was just basically going with it solo. I've been going, well, not really solo because I got tipsy, obviously. But even then, I just felt like moving forward with how I've been doing the podcast so far, it would just be better off if I just went at on my own. I hope you guys understand, and I hope you guys are willing to stick with me through it. Because without you guys, this podcast wouldn't be in the position that it is right now. And I cannot thank you guys enough for being here. I sincerely do. You know, life can be struggling at times. Life can be hard to deal with at times. But having you guys up by my side, supporting me, showing me love when you can, it really does make the difference. And I cannot thank you guys enough. Thank you guys for all that you do. Keep up your guys' incredible work and show some love for the community. You know, I'm bringing forth all these different artists and showing them the love that they deserve. Keep that love going. Spread that love to everyone else. Show the artists that you love all the love that you can, because they greatly appreciate it. Without you guys, the artists that I bring on wouldn't be where they are. Without you guys, there wouldn't be much of a community. Help the community grow stronger and show your love for everyone. And for that, I love you guys. Have a wonderful week.